In this video, I'm going to go over how to do front and back post treble crochet. This is a stitch that creates a ridge on the front or back, depending on which one you do, of your piece that you're working on. And they're used mostly to make different patterns using those ridges. This is actually the stitch you're going to use if you want to make cables, which, while more known for their knitted variety, you can do with crochet, and that's what I'm going to go over in my next video. But for this one, I'm just going to go over these stitches. They do have a couple more uses that I'm going to briefly mention, but these are the basic skills you need to be able to do the cables I'm going to do in my next video. Front and back post treble crochet are typically used together. The only real difference between them is which side of the piece you start your stitch on. Other than that, they're worked completely the same. So I'm going to start with front post crochet right now. You're going to see that when we get to the back post treble crochet, it's worked exactly the same way. To start, you're going to need at least one row of double crochet. You technically can do these stitches on a different kind of stitch than double crochet, but it really works the best with double crochet. Alright, so you're going to want to get to whatever point in your piece you're going to want your post to be at. So say I want my post to start at the third stitch. So I'm going to do 2 here. Now when I get to my third one, I'm going to yarn over twice. Alright, now I'm going to enter my crochet hook between the 2 stitches here in the row below. So I'm going to go in here, going from the front towards the back. Then we're going to go to the other side of just this one single stitch and come back out from the back to the front. So I have this, my crochet hook has the entire stitch from the row below on my hook. I'm just going to yarn over, pull through, and so now I have 4 loops on my hook. Just going to yarn over and go through 2 loops at a time. So you basically just keep doing that, 2 loops at a time, until you're left with 1. And that is your front post treble crochet stitch. Now you can either go straight into another one, or what I'm going to do is go into a double crochet. The thing you want to be careful with is you're going to end up with this kind of empty stitch here. You want to make sure you're skipping that, or what's going to happen is that you're going to end up with more stitches than you started with. You can switch between double crochet and treble post crochet at any point in your piece. So I have my 1 treble here. These do get more prominent once you get further rows if you keep connecting back to them, which I'll explain a little bit more in a little bit. So I have my 1 here and I go straight to double crochet, and whenever I want I can just do another treble post crochet exactly the same way as the first one. And as long as I make sure that I don't finish my stitch in the wrong stitch, so see here, I don't want this one that looks like it should be next, I want the one next to it. You're totally fine, and you can just switch whenever you feel like it. You are gonna want to make sure that you're not trying to do a treble post in the last stitch of the row though, because there's no place to kind of anchor it back into your piece if you do that. The most common way to use these is to kind of continue where you started with here, creating a ridge throughout your whole piece. You can either make it straight by doing each stitch right on top of each other, or you can make them, you know, intersect and go diagonal and things like that by doing it in a different spot. But what's going to happen next after you finish the row is you're going to chain 2 to turn it, because you're doing double crochet. You're going to see that your posts are on the opposite side of the piece. There are 2 ways you can go from here. You can either do what I'm going to show you first and do a row of just plain double crochet, and then in the next row, not the one immediately after, but the next one, what you're going to do is do just more front post treble crochet, grabbing onto these ones here like we did our regular old double crochet. The other way that you can do it is to do back post crochet on this piece without having another row of crochet here, which is what I'm going to go over second. Alright, so now that I have my row of just plain old double crochet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crochet back over to where my post stitch is in the row below. And from here I'm gonna start my treble crochet, but instead of going into the double crochet from that row, you're gonna reach back down to the row below it and just go through your post stitch here, yarn over and pull through and finish off your treble stitch. And again, you're just going to want to make sure that you are, when you go back to doing your next double crochet, you want to make sure you put it into the right place. And the other thing you can do to make these things diagonal is to grab onto your treble crochet from a position either in front of or behind the one you have. So if I want this, instead of being a straight row like I'm getting here, but doing them on top of each other, if I grab it here where I am off from where I'm supposed to be, and I go into my treble crochet and just do that as normal, finish it off, and still just go into my next one, just skipping whichever stitch it is you were supposed to do next, and do that as normal. Can see here that this stitch here is now on a diagonal. You get more pronounced the more you do this if you keep shifting it over one, but that's how you keep it from being straight. And then you can just finish off your row like normal. That's how you get these kind of ridges here, either going diagonally or straight, using just front post treble crochet. The other way you can do this is to use one row of front post treble crochet, then a row of back post, and then going back to front post, and just keep alternating those instead of having a row of plain old double crochet in the middle. So what you're going to do is you're going to start it the same way while you're on the back of the piece, the one without the ridges from your posts on them. Just going to yarn over twice, but where we went down and grabbed the stitch before, we're going to flip the piece over. Then you're going to insert your hook under your post stitch from the row before, or if you haven't started a post yet, you're just going to put it into your just regular old stitch. Then from here it's worked the same. You just yarn over, pull it through, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops each time until you've only got 1 loop left on your hook. From here again, you're going to switch back to double crochet like normal, but you're going to want to make sure you skip your next stitch here. Just go right into the next one like normal. And this allows you to have your post on one side instead of having one post on one side of your piece and one post on the other, because that way you don't get a kind of continuous ridge so that you're kind of using it to make a design. It doesn't work. But doing it like this, it does allow you. You're still going to start the same. So you're going to yarn over twice. Then before when we went down to get to our stitch, we're going to flip the piece over and go into our post from the front of the piece from our last row. From here the stitches work the same, just yarn over, pull through, and yarn over and go through 2 loops at a time until you're only left with 1 loop on your hook. And here it's again, you're back to doing the same thing, making sure you skip your first stitch in the row here, but from here you just back to regular old double crochet. If you're doing it this way, what you're going to do is you're going to alternate using a row with back post treble crochet and a row with front post treble crochet that your design that you're making by using the post stitches is all going to be on the same side of the piece, so you actually get a design and not posts on each side of whatever you're working on. This way it allows you to just keep doing your posts in each row instead of having to do a row of just plain old double crochet in the middle. If you want to make a diagonal, it's the exact same thing with back post crochet as it was with front post crochet that I explained in my first way of doing this. So if you want to make a diagonal, all you have to do is just start your treble stitch in either the stitch before where it is in the row before or the stitch after. You can do sooner, but it's not going to look as nice because it's kind of only meant to cover a certain distance here. So it's just going to be very stretched out if you try and do it otherwise. So like if I tried to grab onto this one from here, it's not going to work. And if you try and do it at a point where it does work, but it's too far, it's just not going to look right. So that is all there is to the front and back post treble crochet stitches. If you just kind of plan out what you want to do with these, the possibilities of designs are endless. The thing I like to use these for the most is to make cables. So I'm going to go over how to do that in my next video. So stay tuned if you like to learn how to do that.